Hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain my name, spiritual logic. Someone asked me about what does that mean? Where'd you get your name from? Well, see, intelligent design and the order of life and the order of creation comes from our creator, comes from God. And everything that we expect intrinsically from our minds, from our expectation and our universal standard of morality of how we all expect to be treated, comes from the attributes and the characteristics of God biblically written in his revealed word. And the Bible gives a very specific but accurate blueprint of human nature. It describes how our flesh actually leads us astray to our own destruction. The penalty of sin is death, and it's actually proven in our own experiences every day where we go off the shallow, superficial, materialistic, vain things of the world, and it leads us right into the bad decision making that causes the very problems that we hate. So what I'm going to talk about today is you reap what you sow. Now, that's a cause and effect thing. Making bad choices doesn't make you a victim, okay? You actually reap what you sow. We have to be responsible, personally responsible for the people we engage with, the things we do with our lives, and the values that we use in our life or don't have. Good values are what makes money, beauty, and all the other things in life have purpose. Without good values and wisdom to use these things, it will always be destructive, a destructive force in all of our lives. Now, the first issue I'm going to tackle today are with men and women pair bonding relationships. And I'm going to start with women. Now, for all the women out there, if you choose immoral, godless, foolish men that you know are foolish, that you can see the evidence of foolishness in their life. I tell women sometimes, I say, you can always tell a man that's promiscuous, because when he's single and he's not committed to anyone, he's always, with a woman. He's always chasing women, and a woman has to be personally responsible for the knowledge that she has. Like if a man says, "Oh, I'm waiting for the right one," well, he's sleeping with every woman that he engages with, then he's not waiting. But you believe that while you ignore what you saw. It's like when you see women with professional athletes, and they get with these guys in hotel lobbies. When these guys are surrounded by 50 women who are willing to do any and everything for a little shot of fame and fortune, and you're one of these women, and yet if you're lucky enough or unfortunate enough, foolish enough to get with one of these guys, you actually expect him to be a loyal husband when you found this man with a whole bunch of groupies to have sex with, possibly at the same time. You have to be honest. So like when you choose a man for wealth, attention, and vain things such as that, or even attraction, and you overlook his character, if he's a God-fearing man, if he has values and all the characteristics that will actually cause him to want to respect you and care about you in a way that he would care about himself. But you have to be responsible for choosing a man who's living those attributes. And same with the men. You can't choose an immoral, godless woman and choose her for beauty and the way she strokes your ego and expect a good result. What people say about insanity? You're doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a good result. Well, how many times do I see men choosing the women? They move their flesh, they cater to their ego, and they don't see what this woman values in her own life. They don't investigate how this woman treats them. Does she value the good things that you do? Does she value you being in a position of leadership? If you are a man of value, does she see you as the prize and willing to add value to your life if you are to be the head and the leader of that relationship? Or are you just looking at her putting on a dress and you being a fool to chase her and give her everything she wants because you like the way she looks in the dress? You can't blame, we cannot blame no one but ourselves. Even the Bible says we must take the beam out of our own eye and see clearly to help someone else with the speck in their eye. And that's where you reap what you sow comes in from. People have to realize what they're sowing? You know, what are you, what is your standards? What are your principles based on that give you the right to expect anything good from life? If you're only sowing bad things, why do you expect good to come from evil? You know, and you know the Bible speaks about these things. For those who don't believe, well, your own expectation for good has to come from your own ability to live good. So, like with vanity, with wealth and beauty, you know that doesn't bring respect and caring. You know, you cannot be as a woman pretty enough for a man to make a man want to respect you or care about you. That has nothing to do with that. If anything, your beauty would just show how controlled he is about lust. And more likely he will take you for granted and keep you around at the worst possible scenario while he deals with other women. That's the definition of greed. Greedy people, they don't want to get rid of you. They just want you to deal with them dealing with everybody else. That's what greed is. Even if you have everything you want, you still want more. And lust is the same way. It's insatiable. Okay, even if a man likes you, that doesn't mean he won't like the next woman. And he won't be playing both of you. Or if, you know, and same with women. If, you know, women who like that guy, that does, just because she likes you doesn't mean she will not like the next guy that comes around and that she's attracted to, that offers her money. You see, these things don't make you valuable. You know, a woman or a man has to know God by his written, revealed word to actually extract values to appreciate the good things and good people. It doesn't come from just being vain and foolish. You know, and vanity is proven by entropy, the fact that everything breaks down in nature and everything decays. Your flesh, materialism, all these things in the world that people live and die for, they break down and they turn to nothing. And the end result of something proves the worth of it. If it leads to nothing, if it turns into death, then why are you living for it? If not to expect more death. I mean, I don't even have to use the Bible to explain this. This is logic, people. You're chasing your flesh, which rots. Your own flesh rots, and that's what people are living for, another person who's rotting. You're chasing things that break down and turn to nothing, and that's what people are living for. Money is so transient in this world. It comes and goes. But it will not bring happiness. Matter of fact, when you define happiness by money and by people, it just proves how dead you are on the inside, because you lack true identity based on your creator. You don't know who you are and what you're created for. So you're just going to use the things of this world, which are tools of deception. Everybody that's been led astray to deal with a very evil person, guess what you were led by? Your own wicked heart. So you have to value what a wicked person is offering to be deceived from it. So think about that. Let that sink in for a minute. The most valuable thing we can get is eternal life. And do you really have to die to know the value of that? I mean, our last day on earth could be today. And for many in the world, it will be. And all the money and all the attention and all the sexual attention that they got from people, it won't help. And it won't give them no comfort or peace on their deathbed. None at all. So it really, you know, it's funny, you know, the fact that we are getting close to death every day should reveal the value of God and the needfulness of God in our lives. The fact that every day this flesh that we live for is becoming weaker and weaker. So the need for God, and reflected by his righteous word and his holiness, should be greater and greater. You know, the Bible is a tool because it gives a good blueprint of our human nature. The fact that our nature, our nature not submitted to the will of God leads to all the problems and things that we hate in life. The wicked people who do the evil things in the world are contrary to biblical doctrine. You know? They're actually selfish. They're actually just caring about material wealth over how they treat people. You know, and if you expect good treatment from a person, you have to go to the source of which all good comes from. You know, no one escapes the grave, all right? No one. And if someone doesn't value your soul, they don't care about you at all. They can use you for money, they can use you for sex, but if they don't value your soul, you know, then they don't care about you, because you could be here today and gone tomorrow. And that person will use that money on the next person, and they will move on to the next person while you're dead. And you'll be judged by how you lived and what you lived for. Because contrary to what most people think, in this world, you have to have a lot of faith in what the world offers to live for the world. You know, you do. There's no way you can verify all the things that the world's telling you. I mean, this is the same world that tells you that, you know, everything came from nothing. Well, you have to have faith to believe that. You have to have faith to believe that you're an animal. That's what evolution teaches you, for those who believe that and are godless. So you have to have faith on that. You have to have faith that all the people that they're basing your history on, that actually existed. It's funny how people actually have to trust what someone told them in a book is true. Even the word history, you break it down, his story. His story. You know, the Bible actually gives you a blueprint to examine things that you can deal with every day. You deal with lust. You deal with anger. You deal with a need or lack of forgiveness. You deal with a lot of things that the Bible actually has a practical understanding of. But everything in the world you have to take on faith. You know, they tell you to have faith on them when they can't even guarantee a stable economy. But you're living for the things that they're telling you to live for. But yet, if everything collapses, where does that leave you? Now you want to find God? You better seek the Lord while he may be found. Like I said, your last day could be today. You know, and let's talk about breaking the law. Many people break the law. You know, the law is a good example of cause and effect. It's a good example of you reap what you sow. Most people are aware of the law. And if you think that the law is a very unjust system, which it can be at many times, then why feed yourself to it and then complain and say it was unjust when you are just as unjust as the law is? You know, the law was created for the lawless people. It was created for the profane and the unholy, to judge them. And if you're on the wrong side of the known law, then you reap what you sow. You can't blame nobody but yourself. Take personal responsibility to be wise in your life, so you can avoid the traps of this system in this world that many people depend on so much. Same with your health. You know, most people don't take care of their bodies. And they wanna say, oh God, how could you do something like this to me? But you're not taking responsibility for what you can do with your health. Even trusting in the world, many people are suffering because they trust in the world. They trust Burger King and McDonald's more than they trust God. They put their whole life in eating that garbage, that yet they expect to be living a long life. And if they develop a disease or illness from eating processed, disease, toxic food that they had faith in to believe that it would produce something good, that good feeling of whatever they had was going to produce some good effect down the line. And it doesn't. You know, so people have to understand these things. And they need to be wise about what they put in their bodies, and they need to seek wisdom so that they can expose the deception and lies of this world. A lot of things about what they put in the water and the food, if you would read and stop believing and trusting everything the world tells you, you would actually avoid and navigate around a lot of the bad things in the foods. Seek knowledge, seek wisdom. Understanding will save you a lot of grief. And a lack of forgiveness, you know. It's funny how people don't want to forgive, okay, but don't expect to be forgiven by others and by God. And that can have eternal consequences. If you don't value God, then don't expect people to show you the love of God. You can't expect the love of Jesus Christ, the biblical Jesus Christ, from a demon. And if you're out here chasing demons who produce nothing but a prospect of vanity and lies, then what are you expecting good things from them for? You know, wake up. You can't be a hypocrite. You can't expect people to do things that you're not willing to do. You know, and I'm going to read Romans 6:16. It says, know ye not that to whom you yield yourself servants to obey, his servants you are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness. And the Bible also says those who sin are slaves of sin. So if you yield yourself to lust, then you will be a slave to whoever is giving the lust. If you yield yourself to money, then you will be a slave to the person who controls it. Most people are complaining about, oh, the system is oppressive and all the wealth is on a 1% of people. But if you live for that, then you're actually making them more of a Lord over your life than God. Money has its usefulness, and so does a beauty and attraction, but outside of the proper structure and context, which only comes from God, it will just lead you to destruction and chaos and confusion and problems and headaches, which nobody wants. So, like I said, you have to be real about these things. And remember, criminals, being a criminal, you reap what you sow, is subject to an unjust criminal system. So, if you know that criminals have consequences, then don't be a criminal in an unjust system. That's just common sense. And the ignorant are subject to the lies of the world. What you don't know will hurt you. People say what you don't know can hurt you. Yes, what you don't know will hurt you. In fact, it will destroy you. The Bible says this too. Hosea 4:6. My people suffer for lack of knowledge. So, people who don't research their food and they come and get these diseases, people who don't research these procedures and treatments the hospitals are giving you, you will suffer. And lazy people are subject to the diligent and hardworking people. If you are lazy, then you're subject to the person who has all the resources. They can tell you what to do, when to do it. You need to survive. So if you don't want to be subject to an oppressor, then don't be lazy. Be personally responsible in your life. Be diligent. Be wise. And I don't even have to tell you about the benefits of sowing God in your life. The righteous, the faithful, the wise, they're subject to God. So yes, if you reap what you sow, and if God is what you're sowing into your life, then you will reap peace, joy, eternal life, wisdom, all of these things that are useful in navigating an evil world full of lies and deceptions. So I'll leave it at that, y'all. Peace.